Hey guys, today we are making a quick mac and cheese. We're not doing the healthy version with potatoes and cashews and whatnot. We're just going to get a good old block of cheese from Tesco's. I'm using the hot one and I'll insert a picture here. And we're just going to make a nice, simple, stodgy mac and cheese. In another pot I have got some water boiling with some salt and oil in there. And that's for the pasta to cook whilst I'm getting this bit prepped. So in there we've got coconut oil. You can use whatever oil you want. I'm going to chuck in my onions. Stir as you do. Into that we're going to chuck in our thyme. Oh dear. Better. And we are back. We're going to chuck in the thyme, garlic and chilies. Cook those off for a minute or two. As usual, just going to freestyle with the spices. I'm going to add a little smoked paprika. And it's just to give a back note to the cheese. As with many of the cheeses that you get, the vegan cheeses obviously, you don't have as much flavour as you get in the regular cheeses, so you do need to build up a bit of a background to it. This is a tiny bit of hot chili pepper. Then a little onion powder. You get different flavours from the dried that you do from the fresh, so it's nice to mix and blend them all. Some garlic powder. Let's stir this off so they're not catching. Turn this down a bit also. I'm going to add half a stock cube to this. This is optional, you just do it based on how well flavoured your cheese is. Right, I want to add a bit of richness to the cheese. I'm going to add some tomato ketchup. I know you're thinking, what the hell, but trust me, it works. I don't just use tomato ketchup for chips, I use it for seasoning as well. It gives a sweetness, it gives a tomato background. Then we are going to add a big wodge of butter. And we'll just be glazing the pan and steaming up the camera. And I don't tend to do this with measurements, I just go by visuals and taste. Okay, so we picked up all the dressing, dressing, spices, you know what I'm on about. To this we're going to add a spoonful of flour. So what we're doing at this stage is cooking out the flour, because if you don't do this, you're just going to get the floury raw taste throughout the meal. This mixture is known as a roux, and it's a base for a lot of dishes like cream sauce for lasagna and all sorts. You can do it with a lot more butter, oil and whatnot, but because the cheese is coconut based, I'll try and limit how much I add. I'm going to add a tiny bit more flour. And you can build up the flavours in this in so many different ways. Spicy, mild, you can do a mustard based one, roasted veg, whatever you fancy really. Okay, now to this I'm going to add some soya milk. Use whichever milk you prefer, just make sure it's an unsweetened one. Okay, I'm going to make sure my pan is boiling with the pasta. That's the noise you hear in the background. And with this you just want to keep stirring until you get a nice smooth sauce. It'll take a little while, but just keep stirring. You can even use a whisk if you prefer. You keep on a nice low heat and you keep mixing. And I'm going to add a tiny bit more milk. But you can see the flour is cooking out and it's nice and thick. Grab some black pepper to add to that. And at this stage you want to give it a little taste just to see if you need to adjust the spices at all. And this, without the cheese added, has a lovely flavour to it. It's rich, it's got a little spice, but not spices in the pot, just flavour spice, so it's perfect. Now we're going to chuck in the cheese. And this is nice and smooth. The lumps you can see in there is the chilli and the onion and the garlic and thyme. So now we're going to add the cheese. We're going to add half of it to start with. And we're going to stir that through so it melts through the sauce. And if you find it's getting too thick, just add a tiny bit of milk at a time. I usually use the Sainsbury's plain grated cheddar to make this, but I really like the flavour of the Tesco's jalapeno one, so I thought I'd give it a try. and it seems to be melting nicely, so add in the rest of the cheese. You want it nice and cheesy. As you can see, it's nice and rich. And that's pretty much done now. It's just a matter of draining the pasta, stirring it through, putting it in the pan, and then putting it on to bake. I do like a crispy top on my mac, so you can put breadcrumbs on there, panko, crushed hemp seeds, whichever you fancy. Just to get a bit of texture and just to switch it up every now and again. Right, I'm going to get my pasta ready and then we'll crack on with mixing this lot together. Okay, our cheese sauce is perfect, so I've not added anything else to it. So now the pasta's done. I'm probably going to steam up the camera at this point. So I'm going to add my freshly boiled pasta. Okay, we're just going to top this with a little grated cheese and some panko breadcrumbs just for a bit of crunch.